Hello, how lovely to see you. Welcome to this session of the Exmoor Dark Skies Festival. Today I'm going to be reading you a story about dark skies. We're going to be doing some drawing, and at the end, if you're interested, we're going to be writing a haiku, which, if you don't already know, is a type of poem. But don't be scared, it's an easy poem to write and I'm sure you'll be really good at it. So, for those of you who don't know, my name's Peta Rainford and I'm an author and illustrator. That means I write and I draw the pictures for children's picture books. I've written quite a few children's picture books, but the one we're going to be reading today is the one about dark skies, and it's called, oh, wrong side, and it's called Jacob Stark Loves the Dark. So shall I read that to you now? Right, will you settle down? Oh, actually, before I start, have you got a piece of paper with you and a pencil? Because we might need that later for some drawing. So if you want to get that, well, I just open the page of the book and then we'll get started. Okay? Right, here we go. This is the tale of Jacob Stark, who really didn't like the dark. That's strange, isn't it? Do you like the dark? I love the dark, but some people are a bit afraid of it, aren't they? I think Jacob is. Let's find out. Yes. As soon as light began to fade, he'd see things lurking in the shade. A monster, robber, spider, snake. All the things that frighten Jake. Do you think those things are really in his bedroom? I'm not sure. Let's have a look at what his bedroom looks like in the daylight. Can you see what those scary things might have actually been? You can stop the video if you want and have a closer look at the two photos. At night, Jake went in every room to switch on lights, wipe out the gloom. He'd make sure every lamp was on until at last the whole house shone. He'd then refuse to go to bed without a head torch on his head. He really was scared of the dark. One night, when Jake was fast asleep, occupied by counting sheep. Have you heard of that before? You say that sometimes when people are fast asleep, you say they're counting sheep. The light fixed on his head went out. Ooh, what will Jake think about that? Do you think he'll be happy? No, I don't either. Do you think he'll be scared? I think you could be right. The light fixed on his head went out, and then, coincidence no doubt, the other lights all went off too, surrounding him with blackish blue. Really dark. Young Jake, he woke up with a start, terror drumming at his heart. All was black as pitch. What was that? A ghost? A witch? A wolf? Jake shouted for his mum. Mum! Do you want to shout with me? See if we can wake her up. Mum! He called again. Mum! She didn't come. Young Jake, he couldn't move for fright. But then he saw a glint of light. Between the curtains, through the gloom, it made him want to cross the room. What do you think he's going to see? To gaze upon a host of stars, Jupiter, Saturn, Venus, Mars. Not that Jake knew what he saw. He'd never seen such dark before. Its beauty took his breath away, made him dizzy, made him sway. I'm going to fall, is what he thought. But as he did, young Jake was caught and lifted high into the sky. What do you think's lifted him high into the sky? What could it be? Can you think of anything? Let's see. The The boy was scared, began to cry. I'm not surprised. A voice said, "Hush now, Jacob Stark. Do not fear me. I am the dark." Did you guess that? Did you guess it was the dark itself that lifted Jake up into the sky? The dark says, "I want to share my world with you. Come, fly with me." And off they flew. Although he was still full of fears, Jake bravely wiped away his tears. He saw he was above the ground and signs of life were all around. Frogs and foxes, bugs and bats, owls and hedgehogs, moths and cats. Can you see them all? All those animals. Do you know the word for the animals that come out at the night time? In the night time? That's right. That's right. Nocturnal animals. So these are all the nocturnal animals. My favourite is the owl. Do you like owls? See, I've even got an owl dress on today because I like them so much. Do you see my picture of an owl? Should we stop the story for a moment and I'll show you how I drew that? Okay, get your pencil and paper ready and we'll have a go. So, are you ready to draw a Jacob Stark Loves the Dark owl? It's very easy. Let me show you. You can draw along with me. If I go too fast, just stop the video and then you can catch up. Okay, so we start with the eyes, and that's just two little circles, one there and one there, with a gap of about the same size in between. And inside the circles, draw a smaller circle and colour it in, and those are the pupils. So that's very easy, isn't it? So you've done the eyes already. The next bit is what I think of as the Batman mask. So put your pencil sort of in line with the top of the eyes and in the middle, and then you draw as if you're going to draw a circle all the way around the eye. But when you get to that point, stop. And did I say the lovely thing about drawing an owl is that you can make everything symmetrical. So whatever you do one side, you do the other. So I've done a half circle or a part circle there, so I do the same the other side. I come round and round and then I stop. Okay, there's my eyes and my Batman mask. The next thing is the beak, which is so simple. It's just like a letter V and you've done. Then I move on to the ears. So I take my pencil to the top of the Batman mask here, one side, and I do a little curved line like that. And because it's symmetrical, I do exactly the same over the other side. And then to make it look like feathers, I do this sort of frilly pattern down the side there, and I do exactly the same that side. There we are. I think it's already looking like an owl, isn't it? The next thing is the top of the head. So take your pencil to halfway up the ear and just do a curved line across to halfway up the other ear. And then sort of carry that line on the other side of the ear if you can, just down like that. That's slightly trickier, but I'm sure you can do it. So just carry it on as if it was it's the back of the head behind the ear. Okay. The next thing, just stop there. That's fine. We can fill that bit in a minute. The next thing is the chest. So take your pencil to the middle of the Batman mask again, at the bottom this time, and do a curve out and then bring it in, and the point where you stop should line up roughly with the point of the beak. Can you see there's sort of a line down there? And because we're doing symmetrical shapes, we do exactly the same the other side, so it curves out and then it curves into the point, and then we've got the chest. The next thing are the claws. For the claws, just do a sort of semicircle or half circle upside down, so just a shape like that. And because we're doing symmetrical shapes, we do exactly the same the other side, and then just do a sort of zigzag line to make the actual claws. So we've got our feet for our bird, our owl. And now this owl's going to be flying high in the sky with Jacob's Stark, so he needs to have wings. So I'm going to do a nice big, bold, curvy line out like that. And I'm going to do exactly the same on the other side because I'm doing everything symmetrically. And then to give him the feather-like shape, again, we do like we did on the ears and do this up and down line, a bit like little U's in a row, and you just do them all along until you meet up with the body. Now you might find that a little bit hard to do that freehand, so if you do, just decide where you want the wing to finish on the body, like there, and just do a very faint line like that up to the point of the wing, and then you can follow that line with your little U-shape feathers, and that makes it much easier to get them in the right place. So unless you're very confident, I would probably draw a line first like I did on that side rather than try the freehand. One more thing to do, and that's the tail. So I just go between the toes here and draw a line that slightly sticks out, and because we're doing things symmetrically, we do exactly the same the other side, and then again use your feathery U-shapes to join the two lines of the tail. And there we have it. We have the owl from Jacob's Stark Loves the Dark. I'm not going to spend any more time on mine now because I want to get on with the story, but you can colour yours in later. You can do some more feather shapes perhaps on the chest and have some real fun with it. I tend to use natural colours like brown and orange and yellow, but you can use whatever colours you like. Have a lot of fun. Shall we get back to the story now? Did you enjoy doing the drawing? I hope so. I love drawing myself, so I enjoyed it. Anyway, it's time to get back to the story. Do you remember what had just happened? That's right. The dark had lifted Jake high into the sky and had promised to show him why darkness is so important. Shall we find out why? Okay, let's get on with the story. The dark then whispered, "Don't you see? All living things depend on me. It's me that lets the flowers know when to rest and when to grow. I tell them when to make the seed on which the birds and bugs can feed. I spread my cloak to give protection from greedy predators' detection." There's quite a lot of long words in that. Do you know what a predator is? That's right, it's an animal that eats another animal. Sometimes animals do need to eat other animals, don't they? Because otherwise they wouldn't survive. But the night protects some of those little animals from the bigger animals so they don't get eaten. I hide the moths from flitting bats, then hide the bats from prowling cats. I don't mean to alarm or scare. I'm only here because I care. Despite his fears, Jake was impressed. "I did not know," the boy confessed, "that you, the dark, did so much good. I'd never really understood that every single thing alive needs some darkness to survive. Had you realised that? We all need darkness." It's quite an important thought, isn't it? The dark then smiled and, with a wink, can you wink? Quite hard, isn't it? The dark then smiled and, with a wink, before young Jake had time to think, launched him into outer space. "Let me show you round this place. These are things you'd never see if not for dark. if not for me. The dark showed Jake so many things. Saturn with its icy rings, the North Star and its friend Great Bear, the Dog Star with its brilliant glare, the space station which moves so fast, the moon it sees so dark and vast. Does the moon really have seas? You have to find out. Let me know. Jake swooped and soared for hours and hours, past comets, stars and meteor showers, dazzled by the things he saw, frightened of the dark no more. Until the earth began to glow. Observed the dark. It's time to go. But why? Asked Jake. I want to stay. The dark replied, it's almost day. It's time for me to let in light. But we can meet another night. And so, reluctant, Jake was led back to his room and into bed. This was the tale of Jacob Stark and how he learned to love the dark. At night he goes in every room to switch off lights, let in the gloom, to better see the distant stars and dream his dreams of trips to Mars. And that's the end of my story. I really hope you enjoyed it, especially if you're one of those people who's a little bit afraid of the dark. I hope maybe it's helped you understand how important the dark is to all of nature, and maybe that makes it a little bit less frightening for you. And also, of course, without the dark, we wouldn't be able to appreciate the beautiful night sky with all the twinkling stars. Did you notice the telescope that Jacob had at the end of the story? It's rather marvellous. Would you like to win a rather marvellous telescope for yourself? Well, you do have a chance, because Exmoor Dark Skies Festival is running, as I mentioned before, I think, a haiku competition, and the winner who writes the best haiku will win a Celestron telescope of their own. How exciting is that? And then you'd be able to look at the night sky and see all the stars and planets. So, would you like a little bit of help in writing a haiku? Because I've got a few hints and tips that might help you. Now, you may think haikus, poems, I can't write poetry, but there are two great bits of news for you. The first thing is haikus are very, very short. They're very short indeed. And the other good thing is they don't have to rhyme. So that makes them quite easy to write, and all of us can have a go. And I've got some other hints and tips that'll make it even easier. The most important thing about a haiku is that it only has 17 syllables. Do you remember what a syllable is? That's right. It's the beats that sound in a word. Let me explain that by saying my name. Peta. So Peta has 2 beats in it, so it has 2 syllables. And my surname, Rainford, that also has, that's right, two beats, 2 syllables. And so my whole name is Peter Rainford, and that's 4 beats or 4 syllables. Why don't you have a go with your name? See how many syllables are in your name. Did you manage to do it? Excellent. Right, so we all know what a syllable is. Now, a haiku has 17 of those, and they are arranged in a particular way. I've written a little haiku to explain it to you. It's not a very good haiku, but it does help. It may help you remember how to arrange your syllables. So it goes like this. Count the syllables. The first line has 5. So 5 syllables. The first line has 5. Okay? The second line has 7. So 7 syllables in the second line. The second line has 7. Okay? And the last line, and 5 at the end. And 5 at the end. So the whole haiku, not very good, goes like the first line has 5, the second line has 7, and 5 at the end. That one is not going to win a prize, but it may help you remember how many syllables. So we're now clear that a haiku has 17 syllables and they are arranged 5, 7, 5. Okay? The next thing you need to know is that a haiku is usually about nature. So that works really well for us, doesn't it? Because we're going to be writing a poem inspired by Exmoor dark skies, Exmoor National Park. So it's going to be about nature. And haikus are also descriptive. So we need to be thinking of our descriptive words. Now, it might still, even knowing it's only 17 syllables and we've got a good subject, it might still seem a little bit tricky. I have a really good tip to help you write your haiku. Have you still got some paper to hand and a pencil? If you haven't, pause the video and go and get some. I'll wait for you here. Okay? Are you back? Excellent. Right, so divide your paper into 6 squares like this. Okay? Now, I want you to think of 3 things about Exmoor National Park or dark skies on Exmoor that you would like to write about. 3 subjects. So it could be a type of animal, it could be the darkness itself, it could be the sounds that you hear at night. Think about what 3 things that you would like to write about. I think I'm going to go for stars, I'm going to go for a fox, and I think I'm going to go for darkness itself. So I'm going to write those 3 things in my left-hand column. Stars, fox, darkness. Okay? And you can write 3 different things, or you can write the same 3 words if you want to. Entirely up to you. We're just having a practice now. Okay. So do you remember I said that a haiku is a descriptive poem? Yes? So I am now going to write some descriptive words in the box on the right-hand side. So what descriptive words could I use for stars? Let's have a think. I'm going to put twinkling, I'm going to put glitter, and I'm going to put diamond. Now I'm stuck. What else could I write? I can't, you know, my brain's just gone completely blank and I can't think of anything. I know what I'll do. I'm going to get my copy of Jacob Loves the Dark and I'm going to see if there are any words in here that might be useful. Let's have a look. Oh yes, there's brilliant. I'm going to add that to my list now. Any others? Oh, I think we're going to put glint. That's also in this book. So you could use this book or another book about Exmoor, or maybe you could use a dictionary or a thesaurus to find extra words to help you come up with a nice list of descriptive words about, in my case, stars, or whatever it is you want to write about. All right? And then I'm going to do the same thing for fox. So for fox, I'm going to write sleek, stealthy, wary, quiet, and I'm going to write hungry. I think he might be a hungry fox. So I've got some descriptive words for my fox. And then finally, I'm going to do darkness. So I'm going to put inky. I'm going to put black. I'm going to put complete, because I think when I think about the dark skies of Exmoor, when you go outside and there are no lights on at night, it is completely black, completely dark. So I'm going to do complete as a description of the darkness. Again, if I get stuck, I can have a look in my book, see if there are any ideas in here. And I'm going to add pitch, and I'm going to add blackish blue. So I've got my completed grid now. I've got 3 different subjects. They're all relating to Exmoor dark skies. And for each of those subjects, I've got a little list of descriptive words. I could have done longer lists. You might do much longer lists, but this will be enough just to show you how it works. Now, all I need to do is use my grid to help me write my haiku. And I'm just going to take each subject, one subject for each line of my haiku. So I'm going to take stars as my first one. And remember, how many syllables do I need in that first line? That's right, I need 5 syllables. So let's have a think. I'm going to come up with twinkling stars glitter. So let's just test that has 5 syllables. Twinkling stars glitter. Yeah, that works, doesn't it? So let's move on to the next line. So how many syllables in my second line? 7 syllables in my second line. That's right. And it's going to be about the fox. And I'm going to go for the hungry fox is wary. The hungry fox is wary. So shall we just check that for syllables? The hungry fox is wary. Yep, we've got 7 syllables. So we've got 2 of our lines. Now we move on to darkness. So how many syllables? 5 syllables, correct, well done. And we're going to go for inky black darkness. So let's just check that. Inky black darkness. Yes, 5 syllables. So let's have a look. We have the whole haiku, and here it is. Twinkling stars glitter, the hungry fox is wary, inky black darkness. And we have written a haiku. So I think that grid works pretty well, don't you? You can use it again and again and write a number of haikus. What about one with the words owl and autumn and leaves? Have a go at that one. See what you can come up with. If you want to send me any of your haikus, I'd love to see them. You can contact me via Facebook or through my email address. All the details will be at the end of the video. But more importantly, if you write a good haiku, you need to send it to the Exmoor Dark Skies Festival competition, because then you might win that fabulous Celestron telescope. So good luck. I hope somebody who's watched this video goes on to win the competition. That would be fabulous. If you do, you must let me know, because I'd love to know that I've been a little bit of a part of your great success as a poet. So thank you so much for spending time with me today. It's been lovely. I love it at the Exmoor Dark Skies Festival, and it's been great to be back. Thank you for your time. I do hope you enjoy the rest of the festival, and I very much hope to see you again next year. Goodbye.